Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm continuing my search for Sussex, and today I'm heading to West Chiltington. Now, as you know, if you've been following my previous videos, you'll know that I've taken a journey from Shipley down to Thakeham, and now I have come across land to West Chiltington, which is the last part of the journey as I follow in the footsteps of Arthur Stanley Cooke in his Off the Beaten Track. And we'll end up looking at the church, and then we'll go and have a quick look at the windmill. He doesn't talk about the windmill actually in the book, I don't think. And then he suggests that in order to finish and get home, that you walk another 3 miles to Pulborough. So I think it's 11 miles so far in distance from Shipley, but with the extra 3 miles in Pulborough, that makes it quite a stroll. I readily admit that I know very little, if anything, about West Chiltington. I did actually come here with a friend of mine, and we've made a video in the church, and I'll leave the link in the description, of course. But let's have a look and see what Arthur says in his book. I've marked the page. He says here that West Chiltington is quite out of the way, but set in beautiful surroundings. And certainly on the walk and the countryside, getting here has been absolutely fantastic. He does talk about the tower, a tower mill, but I think it's a smock mill, and that's all he says. Well, I'm at the church here, right at the end of the, well, it's sort of in the middle of the high street really, and then it winds its way off, and it's a beautiful church. It's 12th century church, which St Mary's, and known for its wall paintings. Now, in the other video that I made, Mr Suggett and I had a quick look inside, and you do get to see some of them, so it is worth checking that video out. Coming into the village as I did, I passed the post office, beautiful old village store, which is still working today, and I see on old maps of 100 years ago it was still the post office back then, which is absolutely fantastic. So very much seeing much of the sights that Arthur would have seen in his day. There are some amazing properties in West Chiltington. It is very much the quintessential English village, and there's some absolutely amazing properties as you walk down the main drag to the church, and Miss Marple would feel at home here, Agatha Christie's amazing sleuth. Margaret Rutherford played Miss Marple, and Margaret Rutherford appeared in a Norman Wisdom film, Trouble in Store. Norman Wisdom, I'm getting to the connection, for a while lived in West Chiltington, but sadly I don't know where. Because when you think of Norman Wisdom, you think of a naughty boy really. He was a sort of an overgrown naughty boy. Well, if you were naughty, of course, there is the whipping post and the village stocks, dating from the 17th century, I believe, and they're still here by the church. So if anyone is a bit of a miscreant, they may end up in it. And as you come into the church area, right at the front is a beautiful porch, and it's reputed to be, I don't know how true this is, but somebody will probably tell me, one of the oldest porches, church porches, in Sussex. So if you know that, do let me know in the comments below. Now, I did have a little bit of a shufty online to see what else I could find out about West Chiltington, because Arthur Stanley Cooke doesn't really say a great deal about the village in his book. To be fair to him, he wasn't really a historian, he wasn't a professional writer. He was actually a gas inspector, whatever that is, 100 years ago, and an organist. So he had lots of interest in the churches that he went to, but not so much great detail about the village. And looking online, there isn't a huge amount of information. However, there does seem to be a terrific museum, and everyone was pointing me to the museum in the village. So it's probably worth looking at that. Alas, in the times of COVID at the moment, with shops shut and everybody being under lockdown, I don't suppose it's open. I don't know how current this is, but apparently West Chiltington is known for its silverware. I'm assuming it's the bands, brass bands or silver bands, and various cups and things that they've won over the years. Right, so it's time to consult the map now, because Arthur doesn't give us any directions at all to the windmill, and I would like to just at least find it. So I need to look at the Ordnance Survey map, and I believe there is a footpath down this way behind me going, I guess, 100 yards or so that way, or something like that, and then turn right, and we should get to see the Smock Mill that was running until 1922, I believe. So it's worth seeing that. Right, see if this gate opens. And there it is, the Smock Mill, Meaton's Mill, I believe it's called. And I think it was working until 1922, and then it has been turned into domestic residence. And how lucky to live in a windmill. I'd love to live in a windmill. It would be just my sort of place. Interesting that it must have been right on the end of its life as a working mill when Arthur Stanley Cooke came down possibly this path from the church that I have just come down and had a look at it before heading off to Pulborough. And at the turn of the century, and in the early, just after the war really, that's when mills started to fall into disuse, many of them. Roller mills became the in thing. Steam, of course, had been introduced, which was also shortening the life of windmills, although some mills had adapted to having steam-powered engines that would actually turn the stones. Not the sails, it didn't need to turn the sails, but they would turn the grinding stones. Of course, water mills probably continued, but once the roller mills came in, they were much more efficient, and they could be operated on diesel and petrol and electricity, and they could be operated nearer the ports so that flour could be milled closer to where it was going to be taken either out of the country or even imported in the country. But it's lovely to see a windmill still here. Well, how about this? Some amazing, stunningly beautiful houses, and I'm sure extremely expensive. But what a perfect idyll to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Arthur Stanley Cooke made his way, I don't know which way, to Pulborough, I think, to catch the train back home. I'm going to walk all the way back to Shipley. Maybe I actually park the car nearer. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Become a patron, support what I do, and I'll be out again on another video. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and maybe I can hitch a lift, you never know. Maybe not. Till next time, bye bye.